Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to this classic land battle showdown. It's going to be myself and the Chaos Dwarfs facing off against Tim the Wilder here on the dinosaurs, and it should be quite a bit of fun. We brought some big toys. We do have the flamethrower train, as well as a Death Shriek, and a big scary Chaos Dwarf character. Now, for the rest of the army, frontline is going to be the Infernal Guard. I kind of thought about bringing them as great weapons here to maybe have a little bit better punch against things like Croxagores, but I decided to go with the shielded variant just because their holding power is pretty insane. They can beat the brakes off Saurus, they can hold against missiles pretty well, and have nice base leadership. So kind of like, mini Iron Breakers of sorts. We got several of those. Secondary line's going to be very chaff-centric, so Goblin Laborers backed up by Hobgoblin Cutthroats in the secondary. One unit of Bull Centaur Renders with Great Opens, Death Shriek Rocket Launcher just to snipe big dinosaurs, and the Bale Taurus Man with Lore of Death. So that's going to be my entire army. Now for the dinosaurs, it is going to be a big old Croxagore push, which certainly had me sweating bullets. I mean, I really only have one answer against Croxagores, or two, which is going to be the Sorcerer Prophet as well as the Bull Centaurs. So those Bull Centaurs are going to have their hands full for sure. So moving out in the front here for Tim's army is going to be Croxagore Skinks with a couple unit of Saurus. I think he's got one or two in reserve. A single Salamander Hunting Pack in the back, which is the reason why I bring Lore of Death, just to take them out instantly. If you cast Duna on this Razordon pack and attack them, they're just going to break and shatter and run, and it's going to be good for you. So seeing that the front lines weren't too defended, I decided to get the Demon's Tongue in there, the Arwar Train, and Thomas the Pain Engine here is going to be rolling through these bad boys. Flamethrowing them pretty effectively, and we do see these Skink Skirmishers running for the old hill. So those bad boys going to be sent off to the Shadow Realm here. Meanwhile, the hordes of lizards, the cold-blooded lizards, moving on the very warm Dowie here. And the flanking is going to be beginning here in a moment. But Death Shrieks, I decided to switch onto the Slan. I was like, you know what? Let's just sit on that Slan the entire game and see if we can eventually kill him. I felt as if that would be pretty brutal for sure. Because I was feeling like I need to cut the head off the snake here. That healing on all these like really tanky Croxagores and things like that would be very, very problematic for me. So that's going to be my game plan here this game. On the side, we do see the Skink cohorts getting ready to meet the Haggard Goblin Laborer. So here they come. They got their little prison shanks, but Skinks finally get to be the big, powerful ones for once as they do move in there. And the Bale Taurus character up in the sky is going to be maybe looking to do a little bit of razzle-dazzle, some sniping here against the Slan. But more pressure on the side. It is going to be the Feral Cold Ones moving in. In the front, it's going to be a banishment from the Slan as well. And now the Bull Centaur Render is going to be backing up the Chowie in the front line as the Infernal Guard do absorb that charge like absolute champions. And it's time. So we do have the Bull Centaur Renders on the Croxagores, Death Shriek Rocket Launcher on top of the Slan, and we do get the Fate of Boring, as we like to call it, here on the Razordon Hunting Pack, and they are going to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Nice cold blood response might keep them from just outright breaking quickly, because that's a shit ton of damage that they're taking, but I think that the Buna, in tandem with being attacked by the Sorcerer Prophet, is going to be enough, and an Earthblood going down in the Slan, but not going to be enough. Razordon Hunting Pack is down for the count. Meanwhile, on the flanks, the Demon's Tongue is really good against Lizardmen Mass Infantry. You just kind of roll around and terror out things and Flamethrower, and it does excellent, excellent damage. Even against like smaller heavies, like Feral Cold Ones, it can do well. But you'll notice my front line is kind of faltering a little bit. Some of the Infernal Guard units are being overwhelmed. These Hobgoblins and Goblin Laborers on the flanks, to no one's surprise, are getting karate chopped a little bit. So desperate times call for desperate measures. So now we're going to be going in trying to goon the Lord. Sorcerer Prophets are insanely good. I don't know what it is. A lot of what dictates whether a unit or not is good in this game is the attack animations it has. There's like big monsters that have really janky ass animations, and even though their stats and they're priced well, their animations kind of keep them from being good. It's classic Haggard Total War experience, but the Sorcerer Prophet and Star Dragons with like Imric and whatnot, they seem to connect pretty consistently. So he's the Vial of Hashit. It's going to make him take a lot more damage, 0 armor, and also weak to fire, which of course this thing does fire damage. So we break the Slan, but you guys are about to see one of the most Haggard Benny Hills of all time, as basically we have to chase this Slan across the entire battlefield. It's again, speaking of Haggard Total War mechanics, it's going to be coming into effect here. But the Hobgoblin Cutthroats and the Death Shriek Rocket Launcher trying to hold it down back here, and the Bull Centaurs are doing good anti-large damage against the Croxagores, but we are being swarmed pretty heavily. The Chowie Warriors in the front line still fighting to an extent. We do have the Infernal Guard here battling the Feral Cold Ones, as well as the Hobgoblin Cutthroats trying to screen and buy my lord a little bit of time. But we basically just bump into this guy, and I was spam clicking it, trying to get it to attack, but it just keeps like ramming him off the battlefield. So we're going to be escorting him all the way into the sun, all the way across, which unfortunately for me is going to equate to a lot of free damage for Tim. He's going to be able to get a lot of Skink Skirmishers kind of poking, and otherwise that damage wouldn't have necessarily happened on the Sorcerer Prophet. So we'll see if that can play into account as the game does get a little bit longer here. Now back in the battle lines, we do have the Hobgoblin Cutthroats and the Bull Centaurs unfortunately breaking, and our Death Shriek Rocket Launcher is going to be offline. But we do have the Doom Train. We're ahead on the bounce a little bit, but it does start to edge back to the middle. Infernal Guard moving in, and their leadership is pretty good, like I said. They shouldn't have too many negative modifiers. Yeah, I mean a couple, but nothing terribly substantial like Lord dying or anything, but they are being attacked in the rear, which is not great for them. And once again, the Benny Hilling continues. Do a little bit of fast forwarding, so I'm Spirit Leeching, desperately trying to get this thing killed, but it's a lot of time that's wasted because I need the Sorcerer Prophet back here to help like terror out and win the fight against the Crocodile. But sadly, I had to waste a good like minute and a half chasing this bad boy off the battlefield because of janky ass animations. We look at it, he finally connects towards the end of it. It was very weird. But nonetheless, we're going to be using the Sorcerer Prophet down here to terror out these guys off the battlefield. So we do instantly get a couple dinos off the field, which is good because they're going to be terror routing, so that's a big. But yeah, big problem back here because I ended up losing the position pretty well. The Crocodile is able to take a lot of my guys to Pound Town, most of my chaff units being chased off. I do have some Infernal Guard still fighting. There's a unit of Infernal Guard here, and the train is going to be looping back and around. And the Pain Train has gotten only 1,000 value, but I would say the amount of terror routes it's been getting have been invaluable. This thing does cost, I think, 18 or 1900, but if your opponent goes with like 30 Saurus units and you don't bring this, I mean, it's one of the better ways, I think, Chaos Dwarves have to deal with infantry. You can also use Skullcrackers. They work pretty well, but I find that this thing just gets a ton of work in there. So we do manage to route these guys off. So they get routed off the battlefield. We get both of those off. So that was really good. That was about 700-800 gold, or maybe like 600 gold we got off the battlefield right there in terms of value. And now the Flamethrower tank. I'm just trying to get what I can. I'm chasing like crappy units and trying to avoid the Crocodile and the hard armor piercing, which is obviously very nasty. But eventually I will be caught. Now looking at the battlefield, I do have the train up on the far side here. I do have some Hobgoblin Cutthroats. The Baletor's character is going to be coming back. These Infernal Guard unfortunately get broken. And the train here is going to get beaten down and killed. So we'll do fast forwarding while the two armies are going to be reconvening on the middle of the map here. So I do have the Hobgoblins moving in, and I still have a decent chance here with the Spirit Leeches. You can see we instantly shatter one Crocodile. I have a little bit of ammo left as well, so we're just going to be flying about looking for opportunities. You can see the Baletor's character going back and forth, waiting for the Hobgoblins to arrive, and they are now going to be attacking. We Spirit Leech the cohort of Waddle, and these little skink skirmishers, man, they're going to pay some huge dividends. I mean, I have 3,000 HP and the access to the Terror Route, which is quite big. Feral Cold Ones move again. Those bad boys are somewhat resilient. They have okay armor, but of course the Sorcerer Prophet has good AP. And now we're going to be fighting in the pits to the bitter end here, really. Cohort of Waddled and another Crocodile unit are both pretty healthy, which is quite problematic. But I do have a couple Spirit Leeches in the back pocket, so we're going to be trying to get that on the Cohort of Waddle and wear those down. Maybe start to get a chain route from them. But unfortunately for me, these little skink skirmishers seem to have pretty good ammo still, and I am starting to waver at 2 leadership right here. We're wavering. Will my leadership stabilize? Find out here. Spirit Leech going down, so it's going to be triggering the life leeching, so we'll gain some Winds of Magic from that, which is pretty rad. And the Cohort of Waddle setting at 44 leadership, Spirit Leech doing some nice damage to them, and Baletor's is just being an absolute beast of a character. They're such raid bosses, they're so incredibly good. But yeah, that is probably going to be it, as I get surrounded and I'm just getting darted all over the place. I'm shaken. I'm at about 2,000 HP here, and it's really starting to diminish very quickly. Cohort of Waddle also applying the Daze debuff, which lowers my melee defense, which is really clutch here. Making me certainly quite a bit squishier. We get a bit of a mass route on some of the infantry units and the Cohort of Waddle itself, but he doesn't have enough steam to keep going, sadly, and that is going to be GG well played. So it was a good match. It was actually quite close. I think in retrospect, maybe just change the Infernal Guard into Chaos Dwarf Warriors and then get another Bull Centaur Render. I didn't have enough anti-large to deal with the Crocodile, and that was what cost me the game. On top of the Sorcerer Prophet spending 45 minutes chasing this land, that was really bad. If I had just killed this land like half that distance that I had to run, he could have come back and maybe bought some time and saved some units. And I could have created a blob with my other SC, and I think it could have been a different game too, and maybe we could have won it. But who knows? Hard to say. Sniping this land early was quite good, but aside from that, he swarmed me very well and played a very nice game. So well played to Tim. All right, guys, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. See you around, and we'll be back with more sweaty action soon, I can assure you.